The Whine and Cheese Show is a Metaverse and NFT discussion and interview series brought to you by Metaverse Ventures Entertainment and host BEN68 and Morecheese. Warning: the information and opinions within are solely the views of the individuals involved and contains content not suitable for anyone.
G'day and welcome to Season 1, Episode 31 of the Whine and Cheese in the Metaverses show.
We talked to Mossi about what he does outside of the Metaverse, his amazing Spark Exchange, what he has planned upcoming and for the future, and how he likes his coffee. Eek!
So strap in and get ready to have your mind sparkified with all the current and future things that Jake is brewing in and for the Upland community in a special Mossi episode of
The worst show ever.
Whine and Cheese. Time for Whine and Cheese. Whine and Cheese. Time for Whine and Cheese. Cheese. One is a wanker, one's slinging stunts. One's from Australia, one's from the Bronx. Talking about the Metaverse and NFTs. Interviewing all the real crypto G's.
Hello, welcome to the Whine and Cheese in the Metaverses show with my co-host BEN68 and our guest Mossi. We're on episode 31. We had a nice episode 30 last time. Tell us your dirty 30s. This one we have to think about. I have no idea what we're going to do for this one, but
31. I don't know. That's not a milestone year, is it?
I mean, I did nothing for my 30th. I did something for my 31st.
Oh,
I'm doing pretty good for my 30th at the moment. 31st, actually. This is my 31st year around the sun, so I'm liking it. Upland's been pretty cool so far.
Yeah.
You youngin', that's disgusting.
Oh, no. Yeah, you are disgusting. Gosh.
That's
31.
awesome.
We're old farts here.
Yeah, you guys are my gamer friends, so it's perfect. We all fit in.
Cool. So should we get into the spiel? Because I have some interesting, so we're going to do something different this time. We're going to talk about Upland because they came up with so many really cool things recently. And I have a few things to talk about, but first, all right, Ben, Mossi, have you heard of the Kew Gardens mess up?
No, tell me about this.
So they posted a picture of the Kew Gardens, something in London, and they changed it. So there's kind of talk that maybe they already had this picture set for when they open up the UK Kew Garden, like the UK, and then Kew Gardens is something over there.
So somebody's done a search through their art folder and they found, Kew Gardens, look, somebody's already prepped it and they've patched that in.
Because I think there was there an ultra rare in Kew Gardens? Do you know of Mossi?
I don't know if it was ultra, but I do know it was higher than an orange. And
they used the artwork that they used on it. They showed a different one or something, or if you go into the something or other, kind of pointed to the UK one.
I see. So the artwork behind the collection there was showing not Queens, it was showing an actual UK location.
Yeah, and then they changed it right away because I think Banana said something and they changed it right away, and now it's showing the right thing. So it's not set in stone, but it's just things that make you go,
I bet you that'll get Cyclonic's ears up.
Oh yeah.
Would have been interested in that. I guess that goes, you could look for Easter eggs everywhere, goes back to some of the ones in the old advertisements and that. I think everyone would love to see London or any international sooner rather than later. I know I just tweeted this morning that I got my international budget sitting there ready to go.
Yes, you do.
I know, Cheese, you're flat broke. You've been spending everything you can get on Queens. What about you, Mossi? How are you doing? You got some UPX squirreled away?
Yeah, I'm still sitting on some liquid UPX, which is great to see. It's tough to hold it, but there's some advantageous avenues for reasons why having liquid UPX is perfect. So I'm ready when my city comes.
Nice.
Nice, nice. Now, another thing is the Queen's BE sale that happened this morning. Registration was yesterday and they came out this morning. Did you get any of those, Mossie?
I didn't, but for $9.99 and you get 10K UPX and a BE, it's a no-brainer. I put myself in the pool. I woke up right on time and I got in there and it said I had just enough to try it. I think it was 700th place, but 2 minutes out. I was 2 minutes late by the time it was my chance.
I got the
I'm going to put my wine hat on for this one.
Oh no, go ahead.
Every time these things, the registration ends at midnight for a sale that's at 1 a.m. Like, am I seriously going to get up at 1:45 to see if it's worth getting up at 1 a.m.? I've said this dozens of times. I've been whinging about it for years. Make the registration period end, 8, 12 hours before the sale. And then I'll register for these things. Like, if I see that I'm placed 15th, well, clearly I'm going to try and buy it. If I see that I'm placed 3,000th, well, I'm not going to bother. But I'm not going to get up at 1 a.m. just to see. It's really becoming super annoying that they don't mix things up at all.
You're right. You're the only normal person that has normal sleeping hours for Future Man. Like, I'm already up at 1 a.m. So like that would be a perfect time for me. So I wouldn't mind Upland switching it up a bit so that, it's your like 9 a.m. and it's my 1 a.m. sort of. Well, I mean, it wouldn't work out that way, but it would be my 1 a.m. and your whatever.
Yeah. I mean, the sale's fair enough. Like, don't change the sale time, but put a gap between the end of registration and the actual sale.
I get it. To see where you are in line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That way you get your email well in advance and you can take time out of the day and say, okay, I'm going to pause from going to the grocery store at this time and go do that. But for you, it's like you're waking up, setting an alarm. You can't be doing that back-to-back days just to get a bummer notice.
And so especially when it happens on a work night, like you think, well, I'll get up at 1 a.m. and then I'll do it and then I'll go back to sleep. But more often than not, like you said, Mossy, like you just missed out sort of thing. Well, if you're up at 1 a.m. and you're sitting there for an hour and a half waiting and then you just miss out, the body's not exactly in go back to sleep mode. So
no, not at all.
It can really mess you up. So that's why any of those sort of things, I don't even bother.
But like the necklace, the gold necklace looked like cheese. So I really need it. I got the boom box. I didn't get the gold necklace, but I don't want to get them in trouble, but somebody got an extra one by paying, like they were able to buy two. We don't know if it's going to actually go through, but if it does, I'm going to like swap a legit for it and pay him in UPX for the cheese. I never sell mine. I just hold on to them because they're just so cute. And I shouldn't have that mentality.
You have over a dozen now?
Oh, I'm sure. Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're fun to collect. Ben, you probably have a significant amount of BEs too from the earlier days when it was easier to probably get in line.
Yeah, I sent a message out yesterday. I think I got 26 or something like that. But as Beautiful. I said, all of these ones that are to do with stuff like any of these hunts and all that sort of stuff, or these purchase ones, I haven't done any of it because it's all at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know a lot of other people that are well into the 40s and 50s. But it's been interesting with that announcement about the expansion of the Block Explorer shops, how now everybody's sort of scrambling to get inventory. And it's kind of weird how they do this. Like now there's background talk where, okay, well, you just loan me your Block Explorers so I can apply. And then once my application comes through, I'll send them back to you. You're just playing in a gray area of terms of service breaches. And I've just been saying to people, I'm not even going to risk my account with anything to do with that sort of thing. So,
Devil's advocate. So, all right. So if you're really interested and serious about being a BE shop, MetaVenture, wouldn't you think you would start kind of getting people rallied before, like, because you know that it's going to open up in more places? Like it would be naive to think that, oh, it's only going to be these 10. You know that there's going to be more. So if you are legit serious about being a BE block shop, why not get your website ready, get this ready, have the trading ready, have your customer base. Hey, I'm going to be opening up one in the future. Come with me and, I'll give you these incentives. Like, this is not like, it's a business, you're not going to just come in and say, hey, all right, I'll do this, and then like just jump in and fail. I'm thinking that they have this kind of limit so that people won't just jump in.
Absolutely.
And just kind of like do a half-assed willy-nilly job.
Yeah, it does seem like a deliberate roadblock, and that goes back to when they first announced businesses, way back a year ago or more. When those applications come in, a lot of people got roadblocked out by the suggestion that you had to have a 5 million UPX balance. So that kind of got a lot of people out of the system. But you're dead right, Cheese. Yeah, if you're somebody who had this in mind, you don't wait for the announcement to come. You do everything on the back end, and you're ready once the announcements come. And again, that goes back to people that came into the game like after the original Better Business system had just closed. They're like, oh, I missed out, blah, 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 but I've got this really cool idea. Should I contact Upland? I'm like, well, they're probably not in the position where they're going to take on any more business ideas until they get these ones to run their course. But that shouldn't stop you from doing all of the back end stuff. You make the business and either wait for it to come online, or I think Mossie's a prime example where if you have an idea, just do it, make it. It's the metaverse. That's what it's for.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
So I'm sure we'll dig into that a lot deeper later with Mossie. But yeah, again, he's a prime example.
There was one more Upland thing. Oh my God, something that a lot of people in the UDU and Lily from the cafe and other Phoenix Tat, the ornament.
The one that they've just announced.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Like the
something to do with lights.
Genesis Week ornament contest. I'm excited to see that. Like I don't know what would the light it up. Like I'm sure a lot of people will be like doing a lot of weed references.
For sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, you might not have seen, Cheese. I just pinged the new artist that we've secured for the outdoor decor shop.
I saw that. Said,
here's a prime example of you can test the design submission process. This is perfect. So dive into it.
Congratulations.
We'll see. But yeah, it won't be anything official to do with our outdoor decor shop, but it's a good test ground.
Now, what are these ornaments going to be on? Like, because I know they're going to be put in the shop and they get like percentages of the sale and whatnot. But like, all right, it'll be projected from the structure's rooftop.
Ah, weird.
Wow.
Because I was thinking, well, this is clearly the precursor to outdoor decor coming online. But if it's on the rooftop,
yeah,
it's just like the flag.
So it's going to be like a light. So, all right, I get it now. It's going to be like, a hologram.
Yeah,
that's exactly it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the picture of the hologram field. That's going to be cool.
Yeah. So I was thinking this was going to be actually an outdoor decor piece, but actually it's just a structure ornament. So it's not really outdoor decor. It seems if it's attached to the building, like the Christmas coverage or Halloween or the flag, then it's a structure ornament. It's not really outdoor decor, is it?
No, this would be a structure ornament for sure.
So this is the structure.
Oh, cool.
That is really cool. What would you do, Mossie, if you were able to make like a
big poop in the sky, wouldn't you?
Oh my God, yes!
It would absolutely be a poop in the sky. And if it looks like we could maybe get a little slight animation, if at all possible, every minute a little poop drop falls down from the sky.
Oh my God, that would be
amazing. Give it that. What was that? Did you see that kind of feel? But yeah, definitely a poop in the sky spinning, so that at all times that shit-eating grin is going ear to ear.
It could be pooping out UPX Spark Exchange tokens.
Yes, Yes, that's a great idea as well. Just sling them out of his butt.
So like Ben and we're toying with an idea of doing MVE bucks, kind of like a little incentive for people to save up and use within our Discord for prizes and whatnot. Did you ever think of something like that for your exchange? I know we're not going to get into your exchange just yet. Oh, this was a good question for later, but still, like poop bucks. Oh my freaking God.
Yeah, there's some pretty fun names going around right now, and the topic has been there. I can't disclose too much at the moment, but we do have some conversations later to dive into, and I will talk about some of the fun things. But
Oh, nice.
yeah, you know, a poop coin or something like that.
Poop coin. Oh my God.
We tossed around the idea of a poopy buck as well. You know, the MVE buck is great. It really makes the community feel connected even more.
Yes.
You're already spending your time there, so why not put it into a digital form so that when you're spending your time there, you're getting that digital form out of it, and then you can go redeem it for maybe a shout out on a show or something like that. So the concept is going to be great. I hope you guys push through with that.
Awesome. Well, I think we're done with Upland now. We could dive into our articles.
Cool. Have you got the shareage for me?
Yes, I hope.
Let's see.
Yay.
So you found this one. Metaverse new tech could allow users to feel objects in VR.
Yes.
Now we've been talking about haptics and all the different haptical possibilities for a while now.
They had
What
those
was it about?
gloves with the air things that if you touch something, it kind of like puffs and hits certain pieces of your hand. I don't know if this is talking about this, but let's see.
Yeah, and again, my donkey laptop is freezing up. A new technology could allow virtual reality users to touch and feel objects as realistically as possible in the metaverse, its developer claims.
You could grope anybody you want. And now feel
Oh,
it.
I add-
Uh-oh, you having
It's
trouble?
called the Spinocchio. Oh,
Pinocchio. That's a
It's
name.
not very inventive, is it? A metaverse controller will allow users to feel objects in the metaverse as if they were touching them in the real world, utilizing a spin process to differentiate the sensors associated with objects.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to be like little mini massages. You know where I'm going to go there. Researchers say the controller works as they determine the differences in how objects glide across the skin or slip in one's hands. Is this some kind of troll piece? Because this is just full on down the pants stuff.
Because they're using certain words.
Yeah, glide across your skin or slip in one's hands.
Get your mind out of the gutter. They're
definitely presenting it this way, that's for sure.
Well,
Haptic realism of motion and thickness. Come on, people. What's this guy doing? I don't know. Was there anything that jumped out at you, or was it just like there was a cool headline?
Oh God, they do say thickness.
This looks like a great article and a good read when we get into it a little bit more, for sure. The haptic touch, what do you think about it, Ben? Would you be ready for experience like that?
Nah, not at this stage. I'll let Cheese on all the bugs out on that before I have a go.
I would definitely go for it. Like I would love to. Oh God, I want to say this, but it's gonna make me look so bad. So I like games where I can like shoot or kill people, right? And then imagine you're choking like let's say a zombie for argument's sake. You're choking him. You can actually feel like his neck pulsating in your hands and whatnot. I would love that.
Yeah, video games are an interesting place because you can take some thoughts that we have as human beings and we can actually try them out in a video game space digitally. We respect humans in the real world. I know you do as well. So it's not like a thought that you have. And as you prefaced it, you're like, I'm going to look bad, but it's okay. That's like part of it. I'm excited to try like one of those tennis games where when I actually swing the thing, it feels like something had hit it. So like, it's not like a huge sensation, but just a little bit of
like the pressure is there.
Yeah, something like that. It'll be cool.
True. Or like climbing, if you're climbing or something.
Yeah, that all goes back to my game development days where it was all about like you might put together a game in 48 hours for a game jam or something like that, but then you'd spend the next 6 months working on the juice. You know, you got to juice everything up. So there's those little, you know, if you touch something, it reacts to it. There's a squelch, there's a this, there's a that. It's all that little feedback that, it takes ideas from something that's a bit quirky into an actual, you know, immersive, addictive gameplay experience. So
that's going to be crazy though, when you have like those pods that you just kind of get into. Like, I don't know if it'll be in our time, but technology is going so fast, you know, but it'll kind of look like the pods in the Matrix. So you just get in there and you hook yourself up and it just goes by your brain waves to like make you feel like you're really in there with the touch and everything. That'd be cool.
Yes, absolutely. You guys ever seen those toys where it's a bunch of nails sticking through and you could put your hand against it?
Yes.
And it makes an imprint of your hand. Yeah. And like some people would put it to their face and they'd be like, look at my face. I think that would be really cool if those needles were, you know, programmed to be pushing forward. So it would mold to my body in a way if I'm standing there. And then if I felt like a pressure point here, if I got shot in my game, one of the needles would push a little harder. And I would feel, great idea. I'd feel, oh, okay, there we go. And so tons of little, not necessarily sensors, but physical pokies. Yeah. I think that would be pretty cool. That's a great idea. That's really good. Because like for me, the thought would be air, but that would actually be better because there's so many pins. You could pinpoint every single area. At the end of each pin could be a hole. So if it was a wind that flew by, if you're in a car and you roll the window down, so these pins to my left are now blowing, you know, cold air in my ears or something like that. So make it, Mossi. We'll get there. It's not enough time in the day, Cheese. I take some out of my sleep hours so I can get some of this programming done.
Yeah, that's funny. Cheese would be in the queue for that in the tent, waiting for a week to buy that. She's definitely the latest technology person, where I'm more the get off my lawn sort of thing. I get dragged there kicking and screaming. So. Yeah, old man. Yes. No, I would hire someone to wait for me, just like I did in New York for the Cronut event. But that's another story. But that's cool. That's that kind of is something we've been talking about through a lot of these episodes. Now, last week, Cheese, we dived into our friend Zuck the Cuck. And he's at it again. We found another article here. Nobody likes him.
Is he out already?
Nobody likes him. He's like, so last week we talked about how like he's charging like 45%?
Yeah, nearly 50% off the top for any content creation. He's going to sting you 50%. So. But here we've got Mark Zuckerberg wants to lure you into the metaverse with these 12 mostly lame games. Now, this is a FUD piece, like just from the offset. So we can speak to that. We like our FUD pieces. I did like this, you know, like read that first sentence, Cheese. That's awesome. I love it.
These few psychos eagerly awaiting Meta's grand metaverse vision may have to wait up to a decade longer, the company said during an event Wednesday. In the meantime, Meta's hoping a fresh catalog of improved VR games can function as a type of gateway drug to get users accustomed to their days jacked into a VR headset. Why so long?
Well, I think that's an over-exaggeration, but there's a couple of things at play here. Obviously, you read the first couple of words, the few psychos. So that sets up what this article is and the standpoint they're coming from. So this is a metaverse denier, obviously. It does also speak to the fact that, you know, when Zuck came out and rebranded Facebook as Meta and all that sort of thing, it was like, what, really? Already? You going that far? It's like somebody's whispered in his ear something and he's jumped all over it and dived all in before anybody in the company has sort of worked out, oh, how are we actually going to do this? You know, often we talk in Upland terms where, you know, the cart is before the horse. I think this is a prime example where it's all well and good to have these ideas, but you got to get the foundations and everything sorted out before it become a reality. 10 years, yeah, I think that's a stretch.
Yeah, he didn't do anything right. Like,
yeah.
Sounds like he's just trying to claim the name and grab it before someone else does.
Yes,
absolutely. Yeah, but it does, like, it goes on, and we won't go through it all, but You know,
I want to
this
know
is-
what the games are that I should look into, because I'm one of those
Oh,
psychos.
look at my donkey.
I've jumped into a couple of the what's it called, a Horizon, sorry,
It might be down here because it does outline them. So it says gaming is how a lot of people are going to step into it, the metaverse, for the first time, which we know is for sure. Games have pioneered many of the principles that ground our vision. Yeah, for sure. It's going to be gaming and kinky sex stuff. That is absolutely gonna lead the development.
Yes, please. Wait, so you said Horizons, Mossie. That reminds me of what was I don't know if you remember 2002, they had a Sims VR metaverse, not like maybe VR, but it was kind of like an open world Facebook game.
oh, I
Yeah,
don't think
and it was like way ahead of its time, but they took it out for some reason or another. I think it was Origin that stopped doing business with Facebook and just created their own stuff. But yeah, and it was really fun. It was very well done. You know, there was a good community there and whatnot. So they have the ability to make something cool.
yeah, The Sims has definitely been in a good position. I think talking metaverses, and even in some of the metaverse videos that I've seen on the internet, people diving in speak of The Sims highly. They think that it has been way ahead of its time for so long. It's just that interconnection that once they get it, and it's almost game over for them. They'll create a really great world.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Now we won't go too deep in this, but we will touch on the games that they're talking about. So we've got Ghostbusters VR, The Walking Dead, NFL Pro. Like, these are all very mainstreamy kind of games. Among Us VR. So there you go. You get the younger kids involved. Moss Book 2.
Ah.
There you go. Red Matter 2. Aspire 2. A lot of twos. Ruins Magus, or however you say that. Cities VR. So there's a good mix of things. Resident Evil. I mean, that's a huge series.
Yeah, Resident Evil would be good.
Beat Saber.
I was never good at that.
One of my favorites.
What's that, like a Just Dance sort of thing?
Exactly.
Like you have to with a saber, you have to hit it like a sword.
Bone Lab. So yeah, I think there's all of those games look pretty interesting at least. So it's only
Yeah,
a matter of time.
I would try like a good amount of those. I have no shame in admitting that I am one of those psychos. I love gaming, and
Yeah,
I try everything
think
once, especially when it comes to gaming. I mean, you don't know what the creator can get put out in advertising until you jump in and try it, and you're like, oh wow, this is really good. They could never have told me that.
Exactly. That's how I felt for Soma, and I was lucky enough to get Soma for free on Epic. I don't know if you played that game, Mossy, but it's like one of my. Oh, you don't like horror games.
I typically don't, but I'll try it once. I always will.
This is actually scarier than the game I'm currently playing, 7 Days to Die. Soma actually gave me nightmares. Pepsi, it's the choice of a new generation.
I'll have to give it a try. Epic Games is definitely an interesting spot, and they're also going to be set up for a good metaverse, I think, as well.
Oh, yeah.
I think the explosion of NFTs that's getting more mainstream kind of traction as well. I think that's really going to push gaming as well, because people are going to start demanding functionality for their NFTs. And, you know, we've talked about how that can transpire in the real world as far as, you know, consumerism and shopping and that sort of stuff. But gaming's the big draw card. Like, how many billions of dollars is the gaming industry worth? You know,
true, but there's
massive.
always like a bittersweetness to that. Like, all right, everyone's like, oh, utility, but at the same time, if you're only in it for the utility, that NFT means absolutely nothing except for the utility it provides you. Like, if you're going to buy something like the Bored Apes or something like really good art, and you know it's going to be like a low mintage, it's a one-on-one, it's something that the artist took a lot of time in, you know that it's going to hold the value because of that, you know, low mint or one-of-one aspect of it, or the great art. And even if the person doesn't do anymore, you're always going to have that art. You're always going to have that, like, like if a game goes bad, that utility is gone, and that card is worthless.
Well, it might actually, if the game goes bust, it might actually give it more value.
Maybe
The
give me an
NFT
example.
might be. Well, imagine like you had an NFT of what's that crazy old game that people talk about, ET or something like that. You know, there's people that go digging in the dump to find ET, and those are worth a fortune now. Well, imagine there was an NFT associated with that, and you're one of the first people to have it. It's you know, but
yeah, but then
gamers love history.
10,000.
Yeah, people love history. Gamers love history. History equals value in many situations. So,
agreed.
It shall be interesting. Last week I kind of showed and we talked about how the Australian cricket team was branching out into NFTs, and we talked about a few different things. Well, that has expanded recently. Basically the Australian equivalent of what the NFL is. So it's the AFL, the Australian Football League. They've since come out and done a deal with our friends of Upland, Animoca.
Yes, that's so cool. When you sent me that article to see, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, so the AFL has signed a 5-year Metaverse deal with Animoca brands. Now, it's interesting that they say Metaverse deal there, not just NFTs. So
yes.
Now, in Australia, we have there's two major football organisations. Well, I guess there's three. There's the AFL, which is the Australian Football League, the NFL, which is the National Football League, and then there's also rugby. So, you know, you guys have the NFL, and that's it, sort of thing. In Australia, we have three. So I expect the other football brands will follow suit. So this is probably just the leading edge. It's kind of very regional. Like the AFL is very down towards the south of Australia. It's very popular down there, sort of thing, where the other football brands is more east and that sort of stuff. But yeah, very interesting that it says Metaverse and not NFT here. So
they're paving the way with and jumping with Animoca. That's great to see. 1 degree of separation with us in Upland.
Yes, exactly. I love that.
So it says here, by partnering with Animoca Brands and its Australian operations engine B Media, the AFL taps into a strong local team to deliver the strategy, product roadmap, and access to Animoca Brands' extensive Web3 ecosystem. Now, the Web3 ecosystem of Animoca, that extends to Upland. We've seen that one of the biggest partnerships is within Upland is the NFLPA. Well, it's not too much of a stretch of the imagination to expect that sometime in the future we would have an AFL partnership or something like that. So
I hope.
I think it's all just going to be a matter of time and patience.
Oh, this article makes me go eek.
Yes, look at this.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this will provide fans with immersive metaverse experiences in areas such as virtual worlds, digital art, and gaming. This partnership will see the first major Australian sporting league project in Web3 space come to life. So
you're right. Like
it just piggybacks straight on the NFLPA deal.
That is so freaking cool. I was just going to say, it's funny. I do E and Mossi does eek.
Yeah, you do E, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we won't dive into that too deeply, but yeah, I think it's a very good sign of more things to come.
And that's in 5 years, yeah, that's amazing. That's like really amazing news.
Yeah, it's like I've been playing Upland for 2 years, and I've only I just tweeted about this morning where I've given up on any sort of speculation. Like I don't go in for collection speculation. I don't get my nose out of joint when, you know, they talked about, and Mossi's got the shirt on, Metamotors. When did that all drop? Was that a month ago or more?
A little more than a month, yeah. It was after LA when the factory dropped, and we were like, whoa, what's going on with that out in Santa Clara?
So we might not see, yeah, exactly. And we might not see any more follow-up about that for another month or 2 months, or maybe it's going to be Q3, Q4, we don't know. Previously, I used to get my nose out of joint about that sort of stuff, but at this point, I'm just like, it'll come when it comes.
Exactly. But see, that's where I'm like, I don't want them to rush into anything. I want them, when it comes out, to have all the bells and whistles, like be perfect. Like, don't put anything out half-assed. Like for me, like, all right, we know it's coming out. They put the thing there. We can start using our imaginations and figuring out what it's going to be. What can we do? Like, at least we have a thought in our head. I'm okay with it coming out in a month or 3, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's really relieving and relaxing when you both can agree when the speculation kind of goes to more of a halt and we stop expecting from Upland and we just take it for face value when they tell us.
Yeah,
and we see
absolutely.
it. You know, it used to be stressful. We all know the gray hairs came from it. That's for sure. But once you kind of like break that barrier of what I expect them to do and what I already have from them, it's very relieving. And, you know, we'll talk about the Spark Exchange, but that was one of those moments that had just clicked for me when I stopped asking for things from Upland and looking at what I had available and what I could do with that limitation. It was groundbreaking. So I know what you mean, Ben, when you say, man, the stress is just not there. And why go spec week? Why care at this moment in time? It'll come when it comes.
Absolutely. All right, Cheese, there was one more article that you found. This is another thing we've been talking about off and on and I mentioned this before as well, the bleed over into the kind of commercial shopping world. So did you want to run through this for us?
So I think Hong Kong has got their thoughts together on what's to come, and their Times Square mall is going to enter into the metaverse because like their retailers are having trouble. Like nobody goes to shop anymore. Most people don't go to shop anymore. They like the online. You can get so many more deals online, so many more coupons. So they're seeing a problem and they're solving it, where they're bringing the retailers to the virtual world, kind of like as if the person is walking within the mall. I think that's an amazing idea. It's going to drive people to want to visit it, to see what it's about, even if you're really not into a metaverse world and you just miss the mall, or you have anxiety, you don't really want to leave the house, but you want to go to the mall. Like, this is amazing. That's perfect. I would do it.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be all about virtual headsets, you know. Every FUD article that you see about the metaverse is people gonna starve to death in the corner wearing their virtual headset. That's not the extent and the complete coverage of the metaverse. It's one aspect of it that I personally haven't even bothered to touch on, and I can't see myself doing anytime soon. Yet I'm still heavily involved in the metaverse.
You'll make sure that I don't starve in a corner, right, Ben?
I'll throw a shoe at you every now and then. Yeah. So yeah, was there anything else that kind of jumped out here? I guess this is a good point here. The partnership highlights how real estate companies have been increasingly looking to the metaverse and NFTs to either promote their projects or tap into another revenue stream. Yep.
This will be great for any type of property owners, you know, who own these malls and can't fund them anymore. You know, empty them out. Put one empty warehouse in there and a couple headsets people can rent out when they show up, and have them walk around plenty of different stores at any time. You know, the one building can be a JCPenney, it can be a Starbucks, it could be whatever you think it is.
Yep,
it'd be cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, looks very interesting. So yeah, having more, like exactly like you said, Cheese, people are doing a lot more shopping from home. I think this is kind of pointing towards making those shopping from home experiences a lot more engaging. And, you know, it could be, you know, there's play to earn aspects of that. You know, you go shopping here and you fill out and we've seen this with Upland now. Every day that you log in, you do a little sign in and you check. If you do that 7 days in a row, well, you get a little bit of Spark. Same if you go to Subway. If you get so many Subways, then you get a free cookie or whatever the hell it is. Well, it could be the same thing with these virtual experiences as well, whether it be discounts or who knows. So, no, I think that is pretty cool.
I would do it.
Absolutely.
Oh, look at this. Chang has invested in the Sandbox, a unit of Animoca brands. Animoca, again, I love it, a Hong Kong-based mobile game and blockchain unicorn. The Sandbox is a decentralized online gaming world offering virtual real estate, yada, yada, yada. Chang's owns one of the biggest digital plots in the Sandbox.
There we go.
That's pretty
that name
cool.
Again, Animoca. And they're not gonna pigeonhole themselves just a Sandbox. Like if they're in the Sandbox and there's also there's, a couple of million people on Decentraland, well, they're going to dip in there and they're going to play there. If there's, a million people or so in Upland, well, they're going to investigate and find out there. I don't know, Mossy, do you think we're at a VHS Betamax sort of system where only the one strongest metaverse will survive, or do you think there's room for lots of different ones? Or how do you see this playing out?
Yeah, honestly, it's great to see multiple people trying. When you see, Animoca dipping in, Upland dipping in the AFL like we just saw, and dipping in with now Sandbox as well, which we've known they've been with. It just shows that they're going to be doing business really well. They're dedicated to it, and they're not going to just stop at once they find a good gem. They're not going to say, hey, this worked once, let's just call it a day and go on vacation. They're like, hey, this is the future. Let's keep paving the path. I believe in the long run for multiple metaverses and a bridge between them all. I think the bridge will be very key moving forward so that everyone can enjoy what they do and interconnect. So multiple, I want them all and to be one.
Yeah, one of the concerns that Cheese often brings up is, you think about the crypto ecosystem. If you're involved in this project, you need to have this wallet. And then if you're involved in this other project, you got to have this wallet and then this wallet. And before you know it, you got 15 different wallets. I guess that's going to play into it a bit.
We need a central wallet.
It's going to be tough. And for, go ahead, Cheese.
Oh no, I was just going to say like a central wallet that you can kind of like bring your current wallet to as a login. For example, Anchor.
Yeah.
Like Anchor can sign into the Wax thing. You could sign in with your Anchor wallet. You could sign in with your Wax wallet, or Nefty. You could sign in there with various different wallets and whatnot.
And that's that connection between all the different spaces, using Anchor in one location to do product and then, transfer it elsewhere and use it elsewhere. That's that bridge where people are saying, I want to do my own product, but I also want to find the connection between the two. We will, in our little local with the exchange, at least bringing it to that for a first quick second is, a centralized, decentralized entity that's well trusted in the community that can house a lot of UPX or commodities that can then intertransmit it between the two different people. We've been working with like the third-party logistics teams and the Reds over in the Discord, the community management, to make sure that we're staying above TOS. We don't never want to cross that line or get anywhere near it. It's just not my play style. But it's interesting that you say that, Ben. Like, people need a way for one entity in a way to transfer those funds. It's not possible in Upland to transfer funds between two people using the transfer unless you sit on the funds for 60 days. Not a lot of people are doing that. Only a few select people are. And if those people could get an acceptance letter from their, whoever those monies are, it's going to be very cool. I'm excited because what we're going to do is allow a lot of communities to participate in community events or put on shows and stuff like that, and use their Epic Exchange balance as that medium, that bridge between all the different things, so that, yes, we are tied into Upland, Mossy's got the bank, and then we can do anything we want. If we're going to go to the comedy show next Friday, and tickets are 5K UPX, well, if I have some stuff in my account and that person is verified and ready to go, we'll be seeing some stuff like that.
Yes. I like that term you used there, the Reds. I haven't heard that one before. I'm definitely going to be using that from now on to refer to the Upland, the management team within the Discords. It has a good connotations to it. I like it. The Reds. Do you also have the yellows? Is that part of it as well? The vernacular?
Yeah, we do have the yellows. We have to. They support the community in ways that the Reds can't. The Reds are there to really help out the connection between the developers as well as the leads to the players, and then the yellows are there to help us when we need to mute someone in the voice chat, or if something's getting out of hand and we just need someone to step in real quick. I appreciate the yellows so much.
Yeah, well, Cheese and I we upgraded to a yellow jacket as well as part of the UCM Broadcasters Network. That's not widely out there yet, but yeah.
Yeah, that is correct. Congratulations. I did want to say that to you both. That's huge. That's awesome. You guys got the badge now underneath your name. It says UCM moderator and also member, I believe. So that was pretty cool, man. Congratulations, you two. And Cheese, you too.
Cheese, me too.
Speaking of that BE, that did look like cheese. It looked like some type of like cheese whiz necklace. I can see why you liked that BE from earlier.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, I think that covers all that side of things. Cheese, maybe we need to dig into the brain of our guest a little bit deeper. Who we got today? Who have you sourced here?
We got Mr. Mossy, Mr. UPX Spark Exchange man.
That's
So
right.
Mossy, let's pour, I always say this, let's pour a hot cup of Mossy before we dip into that.
I always gag a little bit when you say that. No offense.
You don't like,
No, I'm not having any of that.
oh, like a Mossy coffee. Like you
Oh.
mash them up and
French press.
I was like, no. Oh, that's
Thank you
awesome.
guys for having me.
Oh my God, that could be your NFT.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And it just presses you until you're like coffee. Oh my God, I love it. I love it. All right, cool.
Right into a coffee cup.
Perfect. See, this is where we get the ideas.
It's the
This is where
content.
we get the ideas. So who is Mossy outside of the metaverse?
Thank you. Mossy is an individual who loves playing games and very passionate about being a good person. I think those two things really best describe who I am. Video gamers, we know, can get real analytical and find best strategies to win things like Monopoly or Risk, or classic board games or card games like Go Fish. You know, we break those boundaries. So one of the things that I really like to do is play games.
Do you
It's
like
just
any of
fun.
the civies since you're like strategy based?
What is that one?
Civilizations?
I did when I was younger, but then I got really into competitive like first person shooters and third person shooters.
Ah, okay, cool.
I love those quick reactions, like make me think as fast as possible and how am I going to outcome in this situation the best. So
It's pretty
they're
good.
pretty
Now,
fun.
how did you make your way into Metaverse, and what was your first kind of Metaverse experience? Like mine was Alien Worlds that started it all. What was yours?
For me, it was probably playing MMORPGs back in the day, between First Star Online 2, which was very niche, to World of Warcraft, is where I felt that massive online multiplayer idea. When we were kids, when I was younger, about 20 years ago or so, there was this movie called Spy Kids 3D, where basically they went into a metaverse simulation and they played a game to win and get out. And it was like, you know, there's books about it and stuff like that, but that was one of the first times I observed it. And the concept of a digital space that you can go to and do almost anything was very cool. It was like dreaming. So fast forward a little bit after that, and I got an Oculus Rift in my early 20s. So that was the original Oculus headset that you plug into the machine, and you know, you're all wired up looking around, and it was mind blowing. I tried it at a friend's house, and I was getting shot at, and I was like, dude, what's the button to crouch? What's the button to crouch? And he's just like, dude, just crouch. And I was like, come on, tell me. And he like took my shoulders and pushed me down. And I was just like, oh, whoa. And like, you know, I'm behind the Jersey barrier in the game and bullets are going over me. And my brain's just like, this is real. Like I'm getting chills just thinking about it today. And then to Upland is really where I dove in. I joined a year ago when a friend recommended me the game. He said, Jake, I'm trying to find money passively. I know that you just started dabbling and investing really small. Take a look at this game. And I was like, okay, I will. And then it wasn't until I got really deep into the Discord and the community where I understood what was going on in the space. At face value, it's very difficult to feel the power of the game.
Yeah, it's,
Right. Go ahead.
I just had a look through our DMs just then. You hit me up in March 2021, or soon after then, like you said that you started in March 2021, but incredibly, just 2 months later, you sent me a picture of a map you'd produced. So it didn't take you long to fully immerse yourself and start exploring what you could do. Can you speak about that process a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. You know, when I came into the game, diving in a little bit deeper, the only tools that we had that were public were, you know, the UPX Spark World or UPX.world. I can't remember what the old URL was, but for me in that generation, because I came in a year after you, All those secret tools that we didn't know about because you guys were like, okay, guys, we can't, these are good pro tools. We don't want people to be doing it. And so one of the things I decided to do was learn data, learn computer programming a little bit more, map making, and I designed these maps just so that I could figure out where properties were for sale, where properties weren't for sale, and kind of just start drawing them up and stuff like that. Really mind-blowing. Very thankful. Yeah. So when I messaged you back then too, I remember just being like, oh, Ben's great. He's out there. He's putting content out for the community. I came from Fortnite, where at any hour of the day, I can go into Twitch or YouTube, type in the word Fortnite, and someone is live streaming instantly that I can chat with and say, hey, thanks again for streaming. This is great. I'm up at 12 and can't sleep. So when I saw Upland, it was very difficult to find a lot of good content. And when I stumbled upon you and your channel, I was pumped. I was like, thank God there's people out there that want to make content for us, because I eat it up and I know you do too. So, that was in a way me trying to bridge a gap with you, because I knew that you were valuable in a way that I wanted you to feel appreciated. Like I wanted to give you my thanks and say, thank you for doing what you're doing, but not outright like, hey man, give me an autograph. Like, you're cool. Like, just slow and steady. Like, hey man, keep up what you're doing. I like what you're doing. So it was cool.
Yeah, that's cool. It often gets like that, and I get aspects of why some people feel that's the case, but I'm just a knucklehead playing the game on my phone, absolutely. And I've brought this up several times. If it wasn't, and I'm going to pump Cheese up again, which I know she doesn't really love, but if it wasn't for my co-host with the most cheese, none of this stuff would exist as it does, or as it is panning out to be. I know, Mossy, you probably know the full history of what we've been through with the UDU and that sort of stuff. Like, I'll say this forever and a day, and it's come up just recently again. Like, if it wasn't for Cheese, none of this would be here, because she stepped in at some key points, and more importantly, she stepped up at some key points. And we saw this when we kicked off our new UDU podcast show last week. Like, Cheese is all over it. Sure, it was dry, it was clunky, it'll improve with time, but she's there, she's putting in the effort. She may not have been fully comfortable, but she's there and she's doing everything she can to help make it a success. And that's where the difference is that I see. And I think you're a prime example of this. It's very easy to talk about what you're going to do. It's very easy to come up with ideas, but actually putting in the work and the time and the effort and dealing with the setbacks and the drama and the personal blow-ups, like Cheese and I are at each other's throats very often, but navigating all of that and moving on, that's where the real value lies. And I think you're a prime example of somebody who not only has big ideas, but actually puts in the effort to see them through to fruition. Like, we see so many, whether it be node groups, like how many node groups have we seen just come out beating their chest and fizzle and die? And the UDU was very nearly that as well. So as I said, it's very easy to have ideas. It's very tough to see them through and put in the work. So big up props to you again, Cheese.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, Cheese, I'm pumped that you're here for you to prop them up. You guys definitely poke each other in a way that you guys both want to succeed and do well. So the content you guys bring, you guys might not see it right at face value because no one's walking up to you in your house and knocking on the door, but there's people that enjoy it. There's people that'll watch it because this is what we like to do. We love content. So thank you.
Yeah, and at the foundation of that is we have fun doing it, and that's the most important aspect.
I think like, for me, the UDU and Ben have been life-changing aspects of my life, maybe even life-saving. So I kind of feel like I owe everything I'm able to do to the project, not because I have to, but because I want to, because of the way it makes me feel. And Ben prompts me up all the time. He's giving me so much confidence, and like, I did what I did to keep him going, and he does what he does to keep me going. And it's a really good, nice, equal partnership. And I'll never hate your kind words to me, Ben. Thank you so much for that. That made me feel good.
That's all right. It's I can never say it enough. And now I know, Mossy, you've got a kind of similar kind of relationship brewing there as well. I've heard about, but I guess even bigger than that would be your personal breakthroughs. Like you said, when you started, like you only sort of started investigating coding and looking into the stuff. I can imagine there must have been several aha moments where, you know, you pushed the button and then what you envisioned was going to happen was there. Like you had the map, it all generated and that sort of stuff. Can you speak about any of those aha moments that you had? And then we'll dive into that other part.
Yeah, absolutely. I call those the breakthroughs. I always say that I'm banging my head against the wall. You do it enough times, you'll break through. So when I have one of those moments, I say that I got the repairman to come out and spackle my wall. We're all good, guys. You know, wait till the next one. But those breakthroughs are very, very fun. You know, when you're sitting there with a line of code and it's looping and you're doing thousands of iterations and you can't figure out what's wrong with it, but you figure it out and it just clicks. It is so rewarding. It's like making art. It's like knitting. It's like cleaning your room. That feeling of I just did this and it's accomplishing. You know, or even making the show as you guys do. So yeah, with the meta maps, when I first started, it was great to break through with finding where sends were in the map. You know, playing Upland as a treasure hunter, I was wasting more time trying to find the send than I was actually hunting. So I built the meta maps just to provide where free sends were. And that started taking too long. So I said, well, let's make the nearby send tool where, you know, it calculates between your property where the closest send is. And it would send you a specific DM that you can copy and paste the item right into Upland and send there quick. And I went from taking 20 minutes to collect sends to nearly one. I think I can do it in under about 45 seconds and max out sends, which is pretty cool. Another breakthrough after that was introducing, well, from that I had Spark. And I really loved having Spark and renting it out and stuff. But at a certain point, when you have a decent amount of Spark, it gets overwhelming to rent it out to folks. I wasn't ready to build in a position. I didn't know where my allegiance in a way wanted to lie. And I knew it would be multiple places, but I wanted to get a feel for who I was working with before I just dove into any project. So I was renting it out. And that's where I came up with the Spark Exchange idea, where we were going to do the list, like the website that we have, these listings where players can go in and list a build that they're trying to complete construction on, and a staker can randomly come in at 2 a.m. or 5 p.m. on a Saturday and see what lists are there and stake their project. So between MetaMaps, Spark Exchange, and then our leaderboard system, which is still in development, are three of my biggest aha moments in the last year. That's why I say 31 episodes a great number for me, because this is my 31 year around the sun. And I think it's been a pretty good year so far. I said it as soon as 22 hit. I don't know what it was in the air, and I wasn't even really going at that time in January. I really went hard since February, but the aha moment was 22 is going to be the year for player content in this space. And we'll all explode. It'll be great.
Very cool. Now, of course, that's speaking about your successes and your aha moments. Now, I know from doing dabbling in coding myself, there's plenty of failures and just pulling your hair out moments. Is there anything that you'd set out to try and accomplish, but due to the limitations of the system or your own skills or whatever, that you just weren't able to crack?
Yeah, one of them was what's the fastest and cheapest route to get between point A to point B. You know, it was a Discord tool that I had designed. It took a couple weeks to get going, and finally, when I broke through, I was telling it to one of the content creators Upland guide, YK 2012 over there. I said, hey, this is great for new players if they need to figure out where to go. And he goes, that's so funny you said that. Just last week, we got our bot going. And it was one of those moments where I was like, okay. And I just scrapped the whole project. And I was like, we're not even going to touch that. They already have one working. That's it. But, you know, move to the next.
Yep. Cool. Just going back to that first point that I brought up too, as far as, you know, working with people, personalities, is there anybody in the community or players that have helped you out significantly in your journey to date, and who that you might be working with now and looking forward to the future?
It's a great question. There's definitely, yeah, the community is what made it. I tell this to any player that comes in any of my communities that I have, and I say, do unto others as you'd like done unto you. It's a philosophy, the golden rule that I live by on my day-to-day. And it's because when I came into the space at face value, no one knows what the game is, or even the metaverse for that fact. You know, you're walking in, it's all confusing. You don't really know what's going on. So it's the community that was able to guide us. So yes, there was someone that was there to help me in a way, say, this is what this is, or answer a question like, hey, Gabi, what is Spark and how come the treasure arrows are this? You know, hey, Jake, try this over here. You know, go do this, Mossi, you'll love it. And, you know, there's a ton of people that I think, and I also just try to present that to everybody else. When new players come in, treat them real well, because you don't know if they'll be your neighbor in your node one day or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And we've seen plenty of examples of people who come in and just seem to be hell bent on burning every bridge that they can possibly find. So
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah, there's definitely some characters in the space. You know, I like to say character, as we're all digital to each other, and most of the time it's not with a face-to-face phone call. So we get to create in our head who each person is and what they say and where they're at and how they're sitting in their chair, or if they have like 5 cats on them or not. So we're all characters in the space. So.
I think it goes back to, and I've said this several times too, where I think Upland as a kind of platform at the moment is almost suffering from an identity crisis. You know, is it a game? Is it an investment strategy? Blah, blah, blah. I know, and I've said this dozens of times as well, that I came into this as purely an entertaining game aspect. Yeah, I was involved in the crypto space and that sort of thing. I do appreciate the, you know, the play to earn aspects, but for me, this is very much a hobby game sort of thing, where Cheese comes from an investment. You know, she's a day trader. She's got that killer investment mindset and that sort of thing. And I think Cheese, but you ride both worlds. You're a much heavier gamer than I am, but you're also an investor. So I guess you're kind of on the fence almost. Would that be fair to say?
In what sense?
Like, is this a game? Is an investment?
Oh, I see what you mean. Anything involving more than $100 for me personally is an investment, but I understand why they feel the need to call it a game.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So I am the biggest cheerleader of Upland. I hardly ever go mental on them. I do have my points, like where I need to let off some steam. Of course, you and I do that, but at the same time, we are basically like pro Upland. But I'm full investment.
Yeah, a lot of these burning bridges people, I think they're the classic example of somebody who's invested more than they're willing to lose. And then once things don't pan out, and this goes back to the whole patience thing as well. Once things don't pan out in the time frame they're expecting, well, then suddenly everything's a drama, everything's FUD, and that sort of stuff. Now, Mossi, that's when you said that person reached out to onboard you, that sounded like you kind of came in from an investment standpoint. And now, considering all of the time and energy you've spent in creating businesses and that sort of stuff, is that kind of your angle? You're more on the investment side of things?
Yeah, I think it's actually more game side. When I first joined in, my friend showed it to me as, hey, man, we're just getting into investing and we're just trying out Robinhoods and trying real cheap things here and there. Try this, you know, you might earn a couple pennies a day. And as a gamer, I wanted to see, okay, how good could I do in this environment? Like if this was the game it was. As for an investment, I do tell people to take it seriously, but it is a game in my mind. And that's just because it's fun. And at a certain point, you don't need to put any more funds in. You know, I'm close enough here where I can cash what I've invested, put in, out. And that's what I'll be doing in the next couple months, just to make sure that now it's a free to play game to me. And I'm enjoying what I did to build up my account, my character, and a lot of the stuff that came with it. But
and the pressure's off then. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. And I think to me, it's a game. I love treasure hunting. I'm excited to bring some of the cool Discord games that we're going to bring out, like the event we did last week in Norwood Park. Yeah, it's close. Ben, what do you think it's an investment? I mean, I know you say
no. I mean, it's my account by, like, maybe I should go right back. Like, I come from a mobile gaming background. I have a long history of building communities around mobile games, like as a kind of super fan sort of thing. Like I used to run online tournaments and competitions for different sorts of games. And then I branched out and started building my own games and playing around and did with that sort of stuff. And, you know, partnering with artists and, you know, sound producers and all that sort of stuff to create games. That's kind of, and then of course I fell into crypto and that whole side of things. So that's kind of how I got into the space. It's most definitely, it's still a game to me, but I have put significant, I have put a significant investment into the game. If it was to all disappear, of course that would be, it'd be disappointing. And I'd kind of kick myself that I took the gamble with some of the crypto that I've put into it, but it wouldn't be like, I'm not going to go and claw my eyes out in the corner sort of thing. You know, I invest pretty heavily in games that I'm a fan of. Yeah, Cheese kind of dabbles in games here, there and everywhere, but then she's a completionist, so she'll fixate on a game. What game are you playing at the moment, Cheese? You're dead
Ghost
set on...
Recon.
Yeah.
Points.
So she's all about finishing that, where I'm even more restricted than that. Like I play 2 games. I play Golf Blitz, which is a online mobile game. And I spend probably $30 a month I spend on that just routinely. You don't get any benefit from that whatsoever. You're not grinding a balance. There's no USD out or something. It's purely you're paying for entertainment. And that's still very much where my head is with Upland, that sort of thing. I'm paying for entertainment. But it's kind of funny now that because of, and I'm a fan of like grindy, idle clicker type of games, like those things you can just check in and you see your balance go up and that sort of thing. So that's very much been my mindset with Upland. Like I've rebalanced my portfolio, wow, dozens of times. Like way back before there was Alcatraz, I was notorious for having mega fire sales in outer Richmond and Richmond, where I'd go and sell 300 properties below mint to then reinvest in like the financial district in San Francisco. And then I'd upgrade my collection there to boost my dividends and that sort of stuff. So that was all a game. I wasn't doing that because I'm thinking, you know, oh, I'm doing this in the future and I'm going to get all this money out. But, you know, if you look at my account on paper now, I think I'm almost 140 million or something like that. So it's significant. And now the kind of mindset switches where like, hang on a minute, if this continues and I play my cards right, this could be a situation, and I joke about it all the time, but it could be a reality where I pay off the in real life mortgage with the game currency. So it's a bit of a funny one.
You never know. You never know.
I'm at a weird point where it's still very much a game. I play it as a game. I grind it out as a game. I do all these shows around it as a game. This is not anything to do with investments, but it is there in the back of your mind that, hang on a minute.
I think maybe you said it so perfectly, like maybe because I am such a heavy gamer as well is why I see something like this, an investment, whereas, you know, you're just more of a relaxed gamer. So this is more like, you know, like a have fun thing where I'm just kind of like, what can I do? What can I do?
Yeah.
Cheese, do you put any money into any mobile games or anything like that?
If I enjoy a mobile game, I'm going to support the creator. There was one game that I played, which was The Walking Dead. There's 2 versions. Okay. I played with a great community of people over the years, and I put in, you know, some money here and there, but not the amount of money I put into Upland. No way near Upland. Like I put in maybe after I finished with my FSA and I got like the amount I needed to move on, I must have put in like $7K. I took out maybe $3K. Then the Bronx came in and I put in $4K. And that, like, now my goal is to get my net worth up to 50 and not put any more money in there. Like I went into Queens with my dividends. I make about like 12 to 14K a day with my dividends.
Wow. That's great. That's a proper 2 a day, depending on where you're at. I think with Upland specifically, kind of like the other games, you know, I play Clash of Clans. I used to play a bunch of other games where I'd put in $100 a month easily just to play the game a little faster or have more fun with it, because I don't want to wait till next month to restart mine, whatever it was. And when I came to Upland, it was no different. It was just, all right, stop playing Fortnite and buying V-Bucks, stop playing Clash of Clans and buying season passes, just put it into Upland, try to build that account so I can grow fast. And I think one of the things that a lot of people will say is it's very difficult to get cash out of Upland. And that being said, it's difficult for people to want to put money into it as an investment. Typically, people who want to do investments want to be able to pull it out and at least have an opportunity to pull it all out at once at a certain deadline. You know, if you're putting it into a CD at a bank and it's a 6-month CD, you know, oh, in 6 months, I can go take the whole thing out. You can't do that in Upland. So that's where I will see it as a game over an investment, because not everyone will see it as an investment if you can't take the funds out quickly.
You can't do it yet, but it is one of those things that's been in the roadmap for a while, account liquidation services. So, you know, it's one of those kind of...
And we were talking... Go ahead. You first.
I was just to put a bullet point on that for myself. When we're speaking about gaming or investment, my biggest concern at the moment, and it has been for probably the last 6 months, is the hit by the bus factor. If I get hit by the bus, there's like on paper, my account's whatever it is, 130 something million UPX, which is equivalent of probably $180,000 Australian, which is significant. That's the retail, well, whatever it is, that's the kind of mint value. That's not the for sale value.
Nope.
So that's potentially 5 years income for my wife. Should I get hit by a bus and die? It's not something to just, oh yeah, Ben was playing this game on his phone and he died and that's sad, he can't play the game anymore. Then there has to be some way to extract that value out. That's why, you know, Cheese knows that if I go dark, well, you know, I'm friends with Cheese on Facebook. She can track down my wife and get in contact and work something out, that sort of thing. And it's one of those things that Upland has talked about, but for some reason they're just don't seem to be putting any effort into it. And I think there's more and more people like myself, and Cheese is pushing 50 million UPX. It's going to become a bigger and bigger issue sooner rather than later. So I don't know. How do you feel about that, Mossie?
That's great. It definitely needs to take place. Beneficiary is what I just wrote down.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that crossed my mind as well. I'm running a business right now in Upland, multiple. And if I were to decease randomly, my wife wouldn't know what to do. She's never even played the game or logged in. She doesn't know really what it is. She hears me talk about it, but it's scary. But I think when they put it into place, it should be well. And I think that they should do it fast enough. If not, some third party will have to do it for people, because there's a certain group of people where it's like, okay, you're more likely not to be deceased in the next 10 years. And then there's another group of people where it's like, statistically, you have a higher chance of being deceased in the next 10 years. And they can't be, they can't be saying the word soon with something this serious, because a human's life is the most serious thing anyone would ever value. Second being their loved ones. And like you said, if you were to pass and your wife could have 5 years of income, there needs to be that connection between the two. Otherwise, yeah, it just needs to happen. I took a good note here, and I think we'll have to talk in the near future about something like this. Something came to my mind with encryption and being able for other people to have a beneficiary set up between a trusted source and a KYC system as well. So that was a cool thought. Ben, we'll have to talk, and Cheese, that'd be cool.
Absolutely. Cheese, did you have anything in particular you wanted to pick away at with Mossie before I dive into some stuff?
I wanted to know if you have anything else that you are planning to do besides the exchange on your mind. With, I know the new Metaventure is coming out and this and that. Is there something that you're looking for Upland to start as a Metaventure, or is this enough for you for now? I
think this is enough for me for now. I have oh, you can't even see it. I have a pretty fun whiteboard here.
And I keep it right on loves a good whiteboard.
I have them all over my house.
Yeah, I'm about to go to Target. I think I'm going to take this whole space and make it a whiteboard. And my thing about whiteboard is you can't erase it until it's done. And you know, I have all these papers and stuff, but they stack up, and I'm not going to go back and read these. So I got a whiteboard because I can't erase until it's done, so I can't overlap it. I'm excited for stuff to come. I mean, the Spark Exchange was revolutionary. I'm bringing community games to the space that I'm going to let people rent out and let different node owners spawn at any time of day. So if there is a community that is in Europe and they're not awake when US is, and they want to start playing a game in their hood. You know, they come to my tool system and they pay the 5K UPX, and it spawns the Discord bot, and they're able to go out and play chess or play backgammon or play Battleship out in the real Upland game using the interface at the exchange. So would it be a different project than the exchange? Yeah, but it would definitely be using the backbone of the exchange and the bank account system. Some of the things we're looking for and getting approvals for USD in and out. We're looking for, and to touch on that, that would be massive. And this is one of those bridges that needs to occur. Players don't want to invest if there's no way to get it out, if it's going to be an investment. Otherwise, it's just a game to them. And so in order to get those people in, I think creating that bridge with our exchange, you know, we laugh about a poo coin and we laugh about some other stuff, but there could be a reality where we as a trusted entity in the space that understands what's going on and actually want to see it succeed, could provide, you know, I'm excited to provide for nodes. You know, with the comedy club coming up soon, we're going to be able to allow UPX transfers between players on our account that are verified with us specifically, so that if someone wants to go to the concert, they can just say, okay, Mossi, I want to go to the concert, and they see it all on the website and they click around. I'm building an ATM at the moment. I'm building a couple cool pro tools that players can use a la carte, so they can pick and choose what they want to do. Trying not to say too much, but there's so much. I mean, it is so exciting what's to come. My big focus for the next 6 months is get players to enjoy the game and find it easier for players to USD out. Those are the two big things. And I think we just got an approval for a use case with USD on the exchange. I'll be the first guinea pig, and I'm going to sell some of my portfolio to be able to pay out the players in UPX. But I'm going to start taking in USD to house it in the USD wallet that I have. Then I could pay players out as well. So we're pretty excited to be able to say to someone, hey, if you need to get USD out and you have UPX, it's not anything like, hey, we're selling UPX, because that's not the thing. It's, we have services here that you can use, and your entity that's providing fun and providing players and transactions on the chain. All my tools require transactions to occur in game. That's why it's all Upland based. An opportunity to cash out at an easier base. And so their one requirement is to be KYC'd and to be well established in the community in a way, as well as have that community node or that community group or that community event. And without that, I mean, I'm not going to just say, hey, Bill Nil, you can come transfer funds between this guy and that guy. I need to see this slip and say, you're going to a concert on Friday? Yeah, I've heard about that. Cool, have fun, check, and send it off. So big things are going to come in the next 2 months. Greater things will come in the next 4 months. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I didn't want to stop you at all, just to make sure maybe you might slip and say as much as you can.
Nice. My eye twitches a little bit when you start talking like that. I just start having taxation nightmares. How are you gonna juggle all that sort of side of things?
Yeah, there's definitely some. I would always recommend talk to your local tax advisor, some go-to woman or male that you guys talk to. Don't ever listen to one person on the internet. And if you do, just ask somebody else. Always get multiple sources. But yeah, there's definitely going to be things that need to go down and what we're doing. So this has definitely been an interesting tax season this year, because I got to kind of drop the note and say, hey, this is what's going on. And we're going to need to connect in the next couple of days or months as we continue to progress. So, you know, I want to do everything by the book, and I'm open as possible to do whatever is necessary to have things done proper. Yeah, definitely could be a nightmare. With the tools and the coding that I know, it's great, because if I need information about what I purchased, history, or, you know, what was this, or I can pull it all, which is very, very beneficial. And I think that'll be another tool we'll get out to people.
Ben is right.
Absolutely.
2022, there's going to be some NFT taxes coming out. No, 2024. Sorry, 2024. It was signed into the signed in by Biden that 2024 they're going to start taxing the collection of NFTs. I'm hoping that there's going to be some sort of lobbyists fighting against it and amendments happen and yada yada. But just make sure you kind of have that in mind. When something was purchased, when it was sold, what was the price of it, what was the worth of it, and what's the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Mossi's primed for another business there, which could be a data rippage service. Like if I had to
Yes.
With
Yes.
retroactive, with the way tax laws can be applied retroactively. Like if I had to suddenly show every purchase and transfer of UPX or property that has ever been made, where the hell would you even start after 2 years into the game? If I could say, hey, Mossy, I need your services. This is what I need. And he does his clickety click. And, you know, he's not offering any sort of tax advice. He's purely pulling the data stream.
There you go.
That would be
Metaventure.
that's a massive. That would be massive. Now, I know some people have been talking about that as an idea, but again, it comes back to that point of it's very easy to have an idea. You got to be able to put the work in, and then you're going to reap the benefits and that sort of stuff. So
yeah, that'll be a pro tool for sure. It's not on the whiteboard yet, but it'll get there.
Yeah, Ben and I just figured out your next Metaventure
Hey,
on the Whine and Cheese show where it all happens.
You guys, this is where things happen. Get on here. This is where it gets made.
I'm gonna completely mix things up a bit here, Cheese and Mossy. So kind of hold on to your pants here a little bit. Now we have mentioned the Spark Exchange. This won't make much sense. This won't make much sense until we get on the back end of things. But Cheese, does Mossy have screen share ability so he can show us the Spark Exchange? All right. So today we've got MossiJake on, and he is the mastermind behind the UPX Spark Exchange. How are we doing, Mossy?
Good. Thank you guys for having me. Excited to be here and kind of show you guys a little bit about what the exchange is all about. Let me pull it right over here if you guys can still see that.
We can see that up. Cheese, have you played around with Mossy Spark Exchange?
I have.
Oh, yeah.
I have. You know me, I see technology. I want to test it out. If it has anything to do with Upland, I'm definitely going to dip some toes into it. And I really liked it. I did 2 contracts where I sparked on people in a list. I got to choose which ones based on how much they're offering to have me stake in there. It was extremely easy. I have myself a balance, I believe of 30 something thousand UPX. I'm holding it in there though, just to kind of like maybe save up for a build sort of thing.
Very cool. Yeah, I only recently started playing with this myself, not the Spark Exchange side of things just yet. I happened to see, Cheese, you posted something about a leaderboards, and just before we kicked off, I investigated there. Now, this is something that I could have used last week. We had an Upland Development United team member who wanted to buy some extra properties in Midtown Terrace. And I looked at some of the other data services that are available, and one set of data was showing me that I had X amount of properties. And then if I ripped my data set down, it was saying a different set, and I couldn't work out what my actual percentage was. Like I have a percentage where I don't want to go below that percentage as far as properties within Midtown Terrace. I want to control a certain percentage. So I eventually ended up going and doing it manually, which was quite a drama. But Mossy, not to tell you what to do, but could you show how the leaderboard system works for Midtown Terrace and how I could quickly pull up those data sets myself using your system?
Absolutely. Yeah. So when you come into the UPX Spark Exchange, website is upx-spark.exchange. Right now, we've hidden it up into the top right where it says community, and it's under the leaderboards tab. So typically players, when they're here. That? Yeah, absolutely.
You've got the screen share.
Let's see. One moment. Can we see that one?
Yep, that's it.
All right, cool. Yeah, so this is where we're at. Community leaderboards. And this right here is going to show each city. We're going to come down to San Francisco because we're looking for Midtown Terrace. And this is sort of in alphabetical order, or I can start typing it. There we go. And then we'll submit it. And Ben, this is what you're talking about, the hood holder.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Look at you.
So that was the figure. That was the figure I was after. I wanted to maintain above 40%. And yeah, I couldn't for the life of me work out how much how many properties I had to work it out. So yeah, because like I said, one of the other data sets, other data tools was showing me 2 conflicting figures. So yeah, what did that take you then? Probably 20 seconds. It took me hours to work it out. So
yeah, the leaderboard hood holders is a great tab. We're tweaking the busy builder for structure counts here, who has the most structures done in that area. Geez, you're up there.
And even if you can go back to that percentage as well, this helps with node development, because often we want to check what the percentage is that the UDU controls. And I can see right from the get-go there. Of course, I'm in the UDU. EH is UDU. N36 is UDU. Bits is kind of UDU liquid. I can very easily check the node numbers in seconds. So that is super useful, and that's a tool that I wasn't aware until just recently that was part of that exchange, but I'll be using that a lot.
Awesome, good to hear. I love this tool too. I like to just poke around. I'm in the Golden Coast out in Oakland. I'm not sure if you knew that. I know they also nickname Australia the Gold Coast, so I'm a big fan of it. But
the Gold Coast is an actual city. I live on the Gold Coast in Australia.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, I have 10% in this hood in Oakland, and I absolutely love it. I'm just two properties shy of 100, and I think that'll be my count. Once I get to 100, that's a good number. 10%, 100, I like it. But there's some players that have been purchasing pretty recently in here that are coming in saying, "Oh, I see Mossie's in here. What's he doing?" So it's also kind of fun to see where people are at. You mix this information with the builders and saying, "Oh, Mossie's building in Gold Coast. Something must be happening." So it's kind of fun. I poke around here quite often. Have you seen Los Angeles actually? Ranchero?
That's Abdullah's playground, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This is a playground for sure. Second place holder on 0.7%. First place holder is 86% Abdullah. So yeah, it's a playground. That's a good way to put it.
It'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Like, I know when I finalized Midtown Terrace, securing the Midtown at Midtown Terrace, my percentage was way up there like that as well. But I wonder if this is going to be something that Abdullah is going to play out himself, or whether he's going to get other people involved. But anyway, yeah,
we'll see how he plays. What was your max number in Midtown before you ever sold one?
I'd have to look back through old screenshots and whatnot. So that's an interesting kind of side area to the Spark Exchange. But what's the guts? Like, what are people mostly coming over here to do, and how do they use it?
Yeah, they definitely come here for three different things. That's for Spark analytics, and now the leaderboards, which is kind of falling underneath the analytics. But in our Spark rental page here, we can list Spark. So there is right now 74 buildings being listed, and what we're talking about is current constructions, the ghost of a property structure that needs to be completed, and you don't have enough Spark, so you're willing to pay for it and have it listed. But my favorite part about the exchange is that it's really true market value. So right now we're looking at this one build that's at 41 UPX per spark hour. And when you look at the contract here, it's filling up every 3 minutes. There is not a single gap in between there. So people are enjoying this contract. They're moving right up to it. They think it's going to pay out well. And so people come to the exchange to rent their spark out for UPX and keep it into a bank balance with me until they're ready to withdraw, as well as they're coming here to build. Some of the craziest buildings that I've seen in small communities get built up so quickly. We've been open for 2 months, almost pushing 3 months. So we're about 2 months and 2 weeks. We have over 91 years worth of Spark completed.
Amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's unreal to see. So people are really getting into building, and we still don't have that other use case yet for structures besides Metaventures. And we do have the new structure types coming out. So some of the other things that people come to our tool site for is the buildings tab, and that would be underneath one of our analytics sections. And what this does is it allows you to search by specific building types within Upland, which not a lot of the other sites I think even have yet. And we can kind of look here and say, okay, there's a Nashville large apartment building going up right now for 310 USD at a markup on the structure, on the property under value. Or I could sort by price and say, okay, there's one for $100 USD. And this has been pretty fun as well as people watch the Spark market fluctuate. Right now, there's a ton of contracts listed at a low rate. So the market has been a little slower. Queens has come out. People aren't spending their UPX as much that way. We were waiting for the new structure types to come out and even cars to see what we're going to do with Spark. So right now we're in a good market to kind of get your buildings listed and then write it right now before it spikes up. I know I'm getting my apartments done.
Yeah. And yeah, I've been all over that with some other contracts I've got going on as well. But this seems like a very automated system. If I was somebody coming in who wanted to use your services as a builder, what are the kind of bullet point steps that I'd do?
Yeah, bullet point would be you need to deposit UPX through what I call a UPX property, a deposit property. And what this is a really cool way for you to come in and build at any time of day. I could be snoring, sleeping, and you can still build. And that's by coming in here and searching for how much you want to deposit into your account. Using a nifty calculator here, you could say if I want to pay 39 UPX an hour for a small ranch house, it's going to cost me about this much money. So I'd come in here and I'd search the tool for about a $42,000 deposit property. So here's a 42.5. And what I do is I would go to this address in game and I can link to it here and it'll take me right to this Burt Ave property that's on the market for 51K right now. And if you purchased it, your account would automatically load that UPX. And from there, your bank account loads the UPX and you get to list a build. So if I wanted to right now with one of my builds that I have in progress, I would just click, say, the small ranch house. I would slide this bar down to whatever I wanted to pay. And if I had enough in my account, I could go ahead and list it. And it would show up on the live listings tab right away. So very, very, very automated for the builder side. The only manual process is when someone wants to withdraw. But UPX transfer has made that pretty optimal.
I have a question regarding this.
Yeah.
So basically, what if you already have a build in progress and it's halfway done and you want to list it on the exchange? Is there a way to figure out how much more it would need depending on how much has been done already?
Yep. So when you come into the list a build page and you click the new builds, towards the bottom, we'll recognize anything that you have in progress already. So from here, you can see how many hours are left. This one's 1,000. And a small ranch house starts with 1,100. So I can tell I'm 92 hours into this build. If I were to click here and change the price of how many UPX per hour I want to pay the stakers, it changes the price right here as we go. And same with the calculator here. You know, if I wanted to charge the lowest for a big apartment, right now at the lowest contract rate, it's set 174. Will it fill? Unlikely, just because there's so much on the market right now.
So
and for half builds,
market dynamics,
we prorate the half builds. So anything that you had prior, we're not going to count. We're only going to charge you for what's left. You know, these are some of my builds that I have done as well. And I can go into some of the contracts and do something cool called a supercharge. This is where if I think my pay rate's too low and not a lot of people are staking on it, I'll come over here and I'll see, okay, so for current rate's 35. And I want to get it to 36 so that people actually come to my build. I have enough UPX to pay 3,000 because that's not that much for one UPX an hour. And I supercharge it. And when I list this, now it's going to have a supercharge effect, paying everybody out right away and then upping my contract. So if anybody's looking at the exchange, they say, oh, wow, that's 36 now. Maybe I'm going to want to go stake over there. And so now it's supercharged and you can kind of come down here and see all the different people that have been here and all the different instances that I've supercharged it.
Cool.
So, I mean, we've already done, I think, 10,000 transactions of bank logs that would take many man hours and women hours to do. You can come here at any time and look at your contract and say, you know, 30 Spark beginning. How much did it cost me? When's it expected to finish? How much Spark is on it? 100% of my Spark. And then you guys see here all the stakes and transactions. You know, if I want to prove that this person did it, I can come here and see, okay, here's their in-game name. Here's the Spark that they put in, and here's my building NFT ID. So we give you guys all the information to kind of poke around with as well. That some people deep dive in this. They will wait and watch a live listing go up. And if there's a higher pay than they have, they just jump right off the old build and go jump on the new one. But
yeah, well, it's just the market economy, isn't it? Great question, Cheese. That's cool.
But do you get, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Real
no,
quick,
you finish your thought.
do you get any payment for this? Like, do you get any percentage?
We take 5% from the,
All right.
when the money comes in, we take 5 and then pay out the rest,
All right, cool.
but nothing more. So it's right now
That's
it's
very fair.
barely enough to cover the server fees. So
Well,
we'll get
yeah, you need to be getting something. This is a lot of freaking work, man.
yes, eventually.
What the
I'm
heck?
okay with this.
So that's the bullet points on the builder side. What about from the other side of things? If you're coming over and you want to
Say that again, the stake aside.
Yeah. So you've give us some bullet points of you want to build. Well, what about where you want to rent out your Spark? What's the steps there?
Yeah, so renting out Spark's great. One of my favorite things about it is having the My Rented Spark tab. And what it does is it shows how much Spark you have in the game, how much you're earning on the exchange.
Wow.
But my personal favorite part is time remaining. This is some information that the game doesn't have. When you scroll through that long list of builds, you don't know which one's going to finish first. And so what we have here is it shows which ones are listed on the exchange, as well as ones that are not listed on the exchange. So you can quickly say, okay, I have a building done in 5 hours where my Spark 0.1 will free up. Okay, 3 Spark will free up in a day. So the My Rented Spark page is great to come in as a Spark staker with or without the exchange. It'll show your information here if you're not even using our service. From there, if you want to rent your Spark out, you come to the live listings tab and you would pull up the full builds button and you would turn that off because you're looking for product that actually has room on the build. So I turn that off and I always sort by Spark hour. Typically, there's many different strategies, but what I'll do for this instance is I'll find the highest Spark hour. This person's paying 30.95. I see it's MossiJake at this address in Detroit, and they only have a little bit of Spark left on that build. Well, I'll quickly run over there and drop this off by going in game and just putting it on there. There's no intervention. You don't have to talk to me or let me know that you did it. You just go in and you do it, and our tool will track that you have gone in and actually did some staking.
It's incredible. And if people had some questions or they wanted to reach out and, maybe they're a bit unsure of some steps, how would they get in contact with you or somebody from the team?
Absolutely. The best way to get in contact with me is through the Discord. There are links on the website that make you go that direction for withdrawals. So you'll always find a way to contact me from that. But find me through Discord. I'm in a bunch of communities. I have the great poop a little emoji. You can't miss it because he's smiling from ear to ear. And reach out at any time. Questions are always accepted. Knowledge is power, and I want to provide it to other people so they know what they're doing.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for that. And yeah, reach out if you have any questions. Okay. The way they set that up will sound a bit clunky because we'll talk about this on the back end. But yeah, I'd like to keep continuing to talk about that because I think we kind of just glossed over a few points there. Cheese, did you want to ask anything there? You had a great question there.
Take it away.
Yeah, I was just saying and this is something you kind of alluded to the fact that you only just semi-recently started playing around with coding.
Yeah, that's correct. I went to college for 2 years for computer programming, and I learned some of the core concept like logic, but I dropped out really quick after I was partying and realized I was just learning on Google what I was doing. You ask, hey, how does this work out? And then you try it out for yourself. And what's the use case I can use this for? But yeah, it's been a decade since I even touched it. And it wasn't until Upland when I realized we need data in the space and we need someone who can kind of, in a way, be trusted to provide that to the people as well. It was sketchy going into some of these city openings, not knowing if the data I was reading was accurate or not, buying properties without doing the manual math myself. A lot of trust, that's for sure.
I was going to ask something then, but I'm having a brain melt. Cheese, save me. Fill in while I try to get my brain to work.
Let's see. I had a question too, and I forgot it. That's why I was like, eh.
I talk too much.
No,
not at all.
This is perfect.
Oh, I remembered. Cheese and I talked to a lot of people in the Metaverse NFT space that they're riding the fine line where, is this a hobby? Is this my job? Where are you at with that? Do you still have a in real life full-time job? Is this you dabbling as a hobby? Is this something you're angling towards as becoming a full profession sort of thing?
Yeah, definitely. 9 to 5. I live here with my wife and my dog here in the house. So there's life that goes on. I've dedicated a lot of extra time towards Upland recently to make sure some of the tools that I've spun up are successful. But angling towards it, yeah, I think digital work is really where I want to do. I want to work from home so I don't have to go into an office if possible. But it's passion. I really do have passion for being in this space, not necessarily just Upland, but the whole digital space as a whole, with games, with investing, with community.
Awesome.
I actually
Now-
thought of a question, but you keep going. I'm going to keep
No,
it.
no, you go. Mine can wait.
All right, fast. We've been dabbling around with advertising recently and allowing people to come on to our new show, the Upland Mash, and not come on, but we kind of like read out a bit of a advert for them, telling people where they can find them and what they're about, yada, yada. Have you thought about doing this yourself for the UPX exchange for Upland creators that want to get their word out?
That's great. That's a good point. No, I don't think so yet. I know I do want to continue to bring the community together and then let them present themselves like a spotlight in a way where they're using our back end or something like that to.
It's funny you use that word. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But sorry, keep going.
To give them an opportunity too. My big thing is that the metaverse will be player created. Upland will be the platform that then we build layers upon it, and we can enjoy what layer we want to go to, but it's all on the backbone of Upland. That was a weird hand motion. It's all on the backboard of
I'm
Upland.
Italian, so it's normal.
Yeah, so my big thing is to make sure players feel welcome.
Oh, I missed it. Was it something?
I was like this.
Oh.
Fist pumping. It's getting fired up, Cheese. I love it.
Yeah, I want players I want to showcase players, man. I want people to say, what are your passions about? What do you want to bring to the space? Oh, you like the way you can organize your lawn, so you have the rocks leading up to the walkway with the beautiful palm trees on the side and like a gazebo on the side. I mean, I know that's kind of a dabble that I know you're daydreaming too. But if that's something you want to do, we can find a way for you to make a lucrative business out of it that's providing players a reason, not just like a good, but also the service. Like, I want to make my land look beautiful. I can't wait. Yeah, there's a lot to it.
Awesome. The last point that I kind of had written down to touch on was back in the early days of the UDU, if you look at those early team meetings, there was a notorious individual who came on board who was all about making external businesses like yourself, getting involved with the Upland team and made all these massive promises. It all fizzled and died, and his get out of jail, that's funny. His excuse was that Upland had essentially cock blocked him from the API. So he kind of washed his hands of it. It's not my fault. All of these promises didn't pan out because of this, see you later sort of thing. How have you found navigating that side? Because some of the stuff that you've been showing is crazy in depth. Like, you must have, whether it's an official partnership or some deal, there's definitely some very cool access, or I don't know how to describe it, but finger on the pulse, I'd say. You've got your finger on the pulse of the Upland blockchain. How does all that come about?
Yeah. You know, for me, it's stay on the right side of TOS. So I reached out every single time I wanted to touch the API specifically. But when it comes to the chain, I mean, that chain's a public ledger. And that's one of the coolest things about the blockchain is it's public. You know, you can't hide nothing. And that means anyone can use it. Our whole system's built on the backbone of the chain. We don't need any permission from Upland to do this, but we asked them. And I told them this is what we're doing, just so that they knew what was going on. You know, I know they have the idea for their own exchange, but I also wanted to let them know, go finish the core mechanics of the game. We got this for a little bit. When we need your exchange, trust us, you can have it. We're fine with that. I got 20 Spark. I got to rent it now, not 4 months from now. So
yeah, or a year from now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would always recommend reach out to the Reds again and send the support@upland.me email and just say, hey, I'm about to reach out to the Reds in the Discord. I'd love to present you this idea. Here's a little bit of glimpse of it in full detail. And then reach out on the Discord and say, I just sent an email. It's probably a nothing burger, like Cheese likes to say. But, you know, I would like you to read it because it's something that I'm passionate about. And that's at least getting that foot in the door. And that's what I did a few times, to a point where someone connected with me on the third-party logistics team and said, well, what do you need? And I said, I don't need anything. I just want your permission to say you're doing it right. And so that was cool. They gave us the go. They were like, oh yeah, you're fine, man. Like, that's all chain. That's all, you're public. Let's go.
So you did it all yourself.
Yeah. So when I say the players will make off the platform, what I've done is I decided to build that box around me. And I asked, so what's my limitation this way with Upland? What's my limitation that way with Upland? And this way, and that way, in back end, in front end. And I know what tools I have in my hand to MacGyver the way to get out of jail, to MacGyver Monopoly in the game. I get chills thinking about it. They're on edge.
I see your hair sticking up.
Yeah, like
I said, he's fired up. I love it.
I'm so pumped to release some of these Discord games where you would just come in at any hour of the day, click an upvote on a react button, and the game spins up and requires you to go send to a property to start it. And now it's a turn-based game where you're sending to properties to make the inaction appear on the UPX Spark Exchange website. So there's that player retention and enjoying it while going in game and needing to have a property in Chicago. Although, why would you need to have a why?
That's so awesome, Mossi. You're amazing. I'm so glad you're a part of the community and you're putting all these things out. And I appreciate you. Ben appreciates you. Upland appreciates you. The cafe, like, you're doing great things. And I just can't wait to keep seeing more and more from you, even though like what you've done already is spectacular in such little time.
Thank you.
It's breathtaking.
Yeah. I think if we were to sit down with Mossi again in another 6 months, we're going to have a whole swathe of other things to talk about. So definitely appreciate your time. And look at that. Look at the time. We've taken up a significant amount of your time. And I also want to grab you and pick your brain on some other things once we're stopped recording. So we might get wrapped here. But once again, really appreciate your time and especially love what you're doing as far as your engagement in the community and all of the incredible tools you're putting together. For not just for your own self and your own self-worth and interests, but massively beneficial to the entire ecosystem and very much so the Upland team in general, whether they acknowledge that to you publicly or not. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, thank you. I'd love to wine and cheese with you guys anytime.
Yay.
What a way to wrap it up, Cheese. There you go. Get us out of here.
Should I get out of here? We're done.
Go ahead, get your pinky up. Talk wine and cheese, motherfucker. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Talk wine and cheese, motherfucker. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Go ahead, get your pinky up.
G'day, sickos. Okay, for this free episode theme, Morecheeese NFT, as always, like and subscribe. Then head on over to the UPX Spark Exchange Discord, tag MossiJake and Morecheeese, and let them know that you've arrived for your gamble with the Mossi Coffee Press. Links are in the description. Later.
Fire, samurai, ride on the dingo, flying through the sky. Cheese in the house, get off the drive. Hit you with the hairbrush, hit you with the knife. People let fire, samurai, ride on the dingo, flying through the sky. Hit you with the knife, flying through the sky. People let fire, samurai, ride on the dingo, flying through the sky. Cheese in the house, get off the drive. Hit you with the hairbrush, hit you with the knife. People let fire, samurai, ride on the dingo, flying through the sky. Hit you with the knife, flying through the sky.